Hi there and welcome to the chat room. Today we're talking about amanzi amponjwana, alcohol, utywala. Well, did you know that in Sanskrit, the word alcohol is associated with madness or a type of temporary insanity? Well, judging by the change in the behavior of many of my friends after having a few drinks, I can understand why this association was made. Well, on a more serious note, though, it's common knowledge that excessive alcohol consumption is responsible for many unnecessary social ills. Although alcoholism is the most recognized of these ills, there are other negative attributes to alcohol, such as anxiety, depression, liver disease, violent behavior, and not to mention the alcohol-related road accidents that we see on our roads every single weekend. It is in the light of these disturbing facts that major producers of alcoholic beverages in South Africa established the Association for Responsible Alcohol Use, which is aimed at reducing the abuse of alcoholic products. But is this really effective? Well, some research analysts have suggested that it is definitely not effective, as South Africa is one of the countries with the worst drinking patterns in the world. In the light of this, shouldn't we then categorize our liquor with narcotic drugs and dagga? Shouldn't we outlaw it? Okay. Drinking patterns in the world. In light of this, shouldn't we then categorize liquor with narcotic drugs and dagga? Shouldn't we outlaw? From camera 2.
You start from there.
From the turn. Drinking patterns in the world. In light of this, shouldn't we then categorize liquor with narcotic drugs and dagga? Shouldn't we outlaw its sale and consumption altogether? Well, that is what we'll be tackling on the chat room today. Should liquor be criminalized? Joining me in studio are guests with a range of opinions, and as usual, our two debating teams. On Team A, Sipho and Lebu, they argue that alcohol should be criminalized. Nomthandazo and Nati on Team B will defend responsible drinkers who feel done in by today's proposition. Our debaters have 30 seconds each to present their opening arguments. Then we'll take responses from our studio guests. Team A, you're up first. Your 30 seconds start now.
Yes, alcohol should be criminalized. Why, ladies and gentlemen, on many occasions has the alcohol companies brand position it and say that it should not be sold to people under the age of 18. They have failed to do so. Therefore, we have rules and regulations in South Africa stating that people who are vulnerable should be protected. Clearly, it states that children under the age of 18 are vulnerable to alcohol. It may lead to future things such as abuse of alcohol, and therefore we should protect them by criminalizing alcohol.
Thank you, Lebu. Now moving on to Team B, your 30 seconds start now.
No ways, it should not be criminalized. Reason for that, that means the fall of one of the biggest companies, the producers of alcohol in this country, and the compromising the agriculture in the Western Cape. That for that will lead to the increase in the unemployment rate in this country. And unemployment rate in this country will lead to the increase in poverty, and that will lead to crime. Secondly, that means we're going to compromise the social and cultural environment of us as Africans living in this country. And third, it can have an effect in the economic environment of this country. Thank you.
Well, your time is up, Nati. Thank you. Well, please call the chat room hotline and let us know what you think. Remember, you can also SMS your say. Type the word chat followed by your comment and send it to 34110. Don't go away. We'll be back after this break. Yo, azange nibheke cameras. Like Benny Jones, like. Hey? Yes. Like right into it and speak to it. And speak to.
9, 7, 6.
Welcome back.
Do that. 5, 4.
Welcome back. We're talking about alcohol today, and our question is... Well, sorry, timing. Welcome back. We're talking about alcohol today, and our question is, should liquor be criminalized? Before the break, Team A took the view that alcohol should be criminalized as it leads to too many of society's social ills. Team B, on the other hand, argued that criminalizing alcohol will have adverse economic repercussions. Mawetu, you have a story to tell us. You've suffered quite a lot because of alcohol. Can you tell us your story?
Yeah, well, first off, I don't have a problem with people drinking alcohol. But then it becomes a problem if people start abusing alcohol. Like, for instance, a friend of mine, after we were celebrating our favorite team's win, and he got knocked off by a drunken driver. Obviously, he was not at fault, but now he's not here to tell the story. But then all I'm saying is drinking alcohol responsibly is good. However, if we misuse it, it becomes dangerous. I think it goes for everything else that we consume, basically.
Patrick, how did you get to a point where you started abusing alcohol?
I started drinking as a kid, experimenting, just trying to find out what was going on.
Could not hear that, sorry. Father viewer Patrick.
9, 8, 7, 6.
Okay, didn't you also lose your father in an alcohol-related accident?
Yes, it happened due to alcohol-related accident again. Yeah, he also was involved in an accident. Okay, even there also the driver was a bit drunk. Okay.
How did that make you feel? Losing people that you love to, recklessness, really?
Obviously, I feel terrible inside, but I cannot stand up and say people shouldn't stop drinking. Hence, in the beginning, I said, if you drink responsibly, that is the way to go. But if you start abusing alcohol, then it becomes a problem, not to the person that has taken alcohol, but to everybody else around them. Yes.
I mean, do you feel comfortable that the message can be spread that people should drink responsibly and they will adhere to the message?
Well, it can be spread, but it's up to one person or individual to make up their own mind and drink responsibly. The fact that probably they don't see how that affects other people probably is going to affect them in the long run. For instance, they might start depending on alcohol. I don't think that's a good thing. I don't want it either. Yeah. Okay,
well, we have Patrick who's sitting on the other side of the camera. He wouldn't like to appear on screen. He's a recovered alcoholic from Alcoholics Anonymous, and it is the policy of Alcoholics Anonymous to remain anonymous, so he wouldn't like to show himself on screen. Patrick, tell me, when did you start abusing alcohol?
From the first time I took alcohol, I didn't drink properly because I didn't drink for fun. It wasn't to be social. I drank to get drunk from the first time that I started drinking.
From the very first time?
From the very first time. And from then on, it just escalated. And though I was able to function and to study, and I grew up and became a teacher and eventually became a headmaster, I was abusing alcohol, and it was affecting my work all the way through. It was affecting my family. It was affecting my relationship with my children. It was affecting everything about me in my life.
Now, let me ask you this. Was the fact that alcohol was readily available to you kind of encourage you to drink more and more?
I believe I drank more and more because of what it did for me. each time I took alcohol, it made things a little easier for me. I felt a little comfortable because I was really uncomfortable with who I was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What pain did you go through, you know, as an alcoholic? How did you reach rock bottom?
I reached rock bottom when I realized that I was going to lose everything. At that time, I had not lost anything. But I realized that I was going to lose my job, I was going to lose my wife, I was going to lose family, and more than anything, I had lost my dignity. And I realized as I was drinking that, you know, the control, the obsession of wanting to drink even when inside me I don't want to drink. That's the thing I think that broke me more than anything, because I realized that I no longer had any control over this thing.
How difficult was it to recover, to be sober again?
It wasn't easy, I can tell you. It was quite difficult, but I had the support of the people of Alcoholics Anonymous. And because I had people that had walked the path, they could show me step by step how to go about doing it. And when things were tough, I could pick up the phone and phone somebody, or get into the car and drive to somebody and say, I'm in trouble right now. And somebody always was available to be able to help me.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Makan, Patrick is one of the many people who are going through, you know, what is called a disease of alcoholism. Shouldn't we rather not make alcohol available, since it can, you know, do something as damaging as what Patrick has gone through?
Patrick has confessed to be an alcoholic. Now, alcoholism is a disease, and that needs treatment. Not everybody who abuses alcohol or uses alcohol is an alcoholic or has the potential to become an alcoholic. We acknowledge that anybody suffering from a disease needs to have treatment, but you cannot criminalize a substance simply because a few people suffer from a disease that makes that substance very, very dangerous for them.
But what about the other, you know, social ills that have been mentioned, like road accidents or violent behavior, you know, that could lead to what, domestic violence?
Exactly. All of those examples, including the sale of alcohol to persons under the age of 18, are already criminalized. It is an offense under the law to sell alcohol to persons under the age of 18. Violent behavior is a criminal offense. Driving under the influence above a certain limit of alcohol in your blood is a criminal offense. We are fully supportive not only of criminalizing activity or behavior that can be regarded as criminal, but on more than that, we appeal to the authorities to enforce the laws that already exist that criminalize certain activities where alcohol might be involved.
Don't you think that we're criminalizing the results of alcohol while not criminalize the cause, which is alcohol? When somebody has, you know, had something to drink, then they do not have the mind capacity to be in control of their actions.
I can't agree with you. Millions and millions of people enjoy alcohol responsibly. They don't commit any offense. But I think what surprises me, and I can understand just judging from your age, you do not probably know that alcohol was criminalized in this country for a select population, the indigenous black population, and what that resulted in are problems that we still live with, the creation of shebeens. There is absolutely no example in the world where prohibition has not had adverse consequences. In the United States, prohibition created the Al Capones, made families like the Kennedy family very wealthy. Prohibition doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. Prohibition doesn't work, Pastor Tebehadi. I mean, if you prohibit something, then it might just, you know, go underground and be, or formulate an illegal industry.
No, alcohol is poison. And I believe that it has to be criminalized. We cannot wait until a problem has arisen and then act on that. There is a problem that results from alcohol. Alcohol, I say it is poison. Alcohol provokes anger. Alcohol promotes poverty. Alcohol perverts justice. Alcohol creates confusion in the minds of people. Alcohol has increased the amount of money that we have to pay for people to be hospitalized and to be treated. And I believe that the only way that we can really bring a stop and an end to that is by seeing to it that it is criminalized or not legalized.
Timpi, alcohol is poison. And, you know, Pastor has just mentioned a whole lot of social ills that come about because of alcohol. What is your response?
I'm not ignoring the implications of alcohol, but what I think it's very unfair for the people who are irresponsible in drinking alcohol. Then it's very unfair for them to get alcohol criminalized, because some people cannot simply be responsible for what they're doing. And the government is already doing something to try and discourage people from drinking so much alcohol, because every year in an annual budget speech, the price of alcohol goes up. So that is enough to discourage people, but they don't stop. So which makes it very unfair for the people who are responsible in drinking it.
Team B, or rather Team A, what is your response to what Team B has just said?
Team B is failing to understand one point here. Yes, the government is increasing taxes when it comes to alcohol. But when you look at, for instance, the Road Accident Fund, in 1998 and 1999, it has paid 314 million to compensate the medical expenditures due to alcohol-related problems. You ask yourself one question: how much are they paying now? So therefore, we are saying that alcohol is helping us, but I mean, is helping our people. But at the end of the day, it does more damage than what is actually being said it is doing.
Mm-hmm. Shamim, what is your view on criminalizing alcohol? You're from the Central Drug Authority.
Not Central Drug Authority. We are represented there, but I'm from SANCA, National Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence, and we do work with the government. Our view is that, I think what Chan said, and that is prohibition is going to cause more demand. There's going to be high costs, high prices where people compete for prices. It becomes a prohibited commodity, and it was shown in America and in South Africa. And because of that, you're going to get drug lords, you're going to get illegal dens or illegal alcohol dens, not drug dens in this case, bootlegging, meaning that they're going to sell it illegally. So it was done, and it was reprieved, and the result is that it is a socially acceptable drug. If I say only 6% of the world population becomes involved or become alcoholic, I know you're going to say 6% is also a high percentage, but that percentage is the alcoholic. The rest of them can moderately drink and can responsibly drink. So from our side, we're saying prevention, education, then treat and aftercare, but prevention, education from a very early age. Make them aware from your home, from your school, from your workplace. And when they're at an age, they can decide, they can make a responsible choice as to how they're going to drink and whether they're going to drink responsibly. Somebody else said earlier, we're teaching or advocating use rather than abuse.
Pastor Tebehadi, isn't it impractical to criminalize it because it may just create an underground industry?
Well, that is true. I mean, people usually quote from what happened in the United States. I mean, the Kennedys became wealthy after the legalization of liquor, alcohol in the United States. But I would like to say that here is a commodity that is destroying life. It is destroying people. I say it's poison. You cannot be feeding people